It's a new era for Hull City as Sergej Jakirović grabs his second win of pre-season. In this video, we'll go through what Sergej Jakirovic's tactics might be for this upcoming season for the Tigers, along with detailing which City players may have a big impact upon Jakirovic's first season in English football. Hello there and welcome back to the HullCityFanCentral YouTube channel, where today we're detailing that plus all of the breaking transfer news surrounding Hull City, and actually that's where we're going to start things out. So first of all, before we go into directly Hull City transfer news, we'll talk a bit about Louis Barry. Of course, we hope that his name wouldn't cross our lips considering the embargo fiascos that are currently going on. But Louis Barry is expected to sign on loan with Sheffield United. Of course, Sheffield United are currently managed by Ruben Sayers, Hull City manager from the second half of last season, so we'll keep tabs on that one. Directly Hull City related though, Hull City are one of several teams reportedly interested in Jeffrey Schlupp. Of course, Celtic, Sheffield United and West Brom are also interested in Schlupp. So very interesting one there. Of course, got a bit of Premier League pedigree about him. So it'll be a very interesting one. If Hull City can pull it off, will be a nice addition into the Hull City squad. So I'll keep you up on that one as things progress around Schlupp. It's certainly a fun one to say, isn't it? So shall we go on to, well, I was going to say the masterclass by Hull City, but certainly the second half masterclass by Hull City as they won 2-1 against Istanbulspor over in River, over in Turkey. Of course, the first pre-season friendly of the Turkish tour. Third pre-season friendly for Hull City, of course. They lost the first one behind closed doors 2-0, won the second one behind closed doors 1-0 against Grimsby Town, and then winning this one. So back-to-back wins for Sergej Jakirović in our pre-season so far, which is certainly a big contrast compared to when you look at last season, where Tim Walter didn't record a single win during pre-season and his first few weeks in sort of the championship. So certainly a different lease of life, and it seems like the energy surrounding Hull City is very sort of different at the moment. You have sort of the people talking about what's going on behind the scenes, but then you have a completely different outlook on what's happening on the field and what's happening with Sergej Jakirović. And I think Sergej Jakirović, hopefully, I mean, we heard in the press conference yesterday that Ajin wants him to be the long-term manager at Hull City, wants stability, and from what we've seen, yes, it's 2 pre-season games so far, 2 wins, sorry, one that we've actually been able to fully watch, and you can't obviously read into it too much, it's just a pre-season friendly, but certainly seems like he is the right man for the job, not only by the product that's getting produced on the field in these few outings, but also by what he's saying behind the scenes. Came out press conference after the game yesterday, where they do the little side to camera. He not only talked about the positives from the match, but he talks about the things that need to be worked on. And it's something that is a bit of a different lease of life for a City manager to go, yeah, we were good in this game, but we can be better. These are the things that we need to work on. And that's what you see from the good managers, out there. Whenever they've faced off against Hull City and they've probably battered us 3-0, they've gone in the press conference afterwards, they've gone, yeah, we were good in these areas, but certainly need to improve on this, this, and this. And then that's how they continually provide a winning product on the field, and I think that's what Sergej Jakirović certainly has going for him at the moment, and hopefully has it going for him for quite a stretch of time as Hull City manager. So let's break down the game and then also break down some of the tactics used by Sergej Jakirović, and also some of what went on, as there was some positives, some negatives, but we'll detail it all now. So a 2-1 win for Hull City over Istanbulspor. Kyle Joseph equalised for the Tigers with over an hour played before Farrell Brown's last-minute winner secured back-to-back victories for Sergej Jakirovic's side. If you have a chance today, go and watch Farrell Brown's goal for the last-minute winner, because it's probably one of the best goals that you might see by Hull City this pre-season. Certainly a nice shot from one of the academy lads that's gone out to Turkey with the squad and could possibly have a bit of a role in the squad this season. Of course, it was Kyle Joseph's first Hull City goal and also Farrell Brown's first senior Hull City goal at that. So certainly 2 noteworthy performances in the second half. The goal scorer from the previous friendly against Grimsby Town, Tyrell Sellers-Fleming, almost netted an opener within 3 minutes as his low left-footed shot was saved by Issa Dogan. Michael Ologo headed wide for the Turkish side before Tyrell Sellers-Fleming tested Dogan again. This time it was at the near post, and after the effort was played in by Casey Palmer. Certainly impressed by Casey Palmer. Also Tyrell Sellers-Fleming in that first half. We'll detail a bit more about individual player performances in a second. The hosts, Istanbulspor, fired over the bar while Regan Slater at the other end crafted a shooting opportunity for Palmer. The Jamaican international saw his initial strike blocked by Harry Vaughan before teed up by Ryan Giles for the rebound, which was saved by Dogan, of course, the keeper for Istanbulspor. A lot of different bits of action in that first half, but we'll really progress on into the second half. As that's where Hull City sort of took the commanding difference in this game. City made 10 changes at half-time and had the ball in the net as Matt Crooks played in Mason Burstow to chip the on-rushing Dogan, but the linesman for the far side ruled the goal out for offside. Brown was also flagged for offside as he played through by Burstow, forcing a save from Dogan before the Tigers equalised on the 67th minute. Crooks' initial shots cannoned off the defence, which allowed Cody Drammer to cut the ball back for Joseph to tap home from close range. I'm going to detail a bit about what we can maybe see from Kyle Joseph this season in a second, so stay tuned for that. Following the goal, the Tigers dominated the game by creating chance after chance. Nathan Tinsdale, of course, with the academy, played in Abu Kamara, whose effort was saved by Subset before the substitute goalkeeper denied Joseph one-on-one as the striker looked to rebound the shot stopper to score his second of the game. In the final minutes of the game, the Tigers secured a deserved winner as Sean McLaughlin's overlapping run allowed Brown to cut inside from the left wing to bend his curling finish into the far bottom corner. Certainly a nice little crafted goal. Just detail the squad. So in the first half, Hull City had Dylan Phillips, of course, playing in goal. Cody Drammer, Callum Jones, Alfie Jones, who was the captain for that half. John Egan, Giles, Slater, Shelby still listed as trial list, Palmer, Myers, Sellers-Fleming was substituted at the half an hour mark for Mason Burstow as all the strikers got half an hour each. And then Harry Vaughan. For the second half, City put out Cartwright, Coyle, who was then substituted for Dram. I'll talk about that in a second. Semi Ajay, Charlie Hughes, Sean McLaughlin, McCarthy, who had a fantastic second half. Crooks, Tinsdale, Kamara, Burstow, of course, substituted at the 62nd minute, who was replaced by Kyle Joseph, and then Farrell Brown. So some big takeaway points from the player-wise, and then we'll go into more a tactic, analytic point of view. Get my words out. So, big one from the game. Louis Coyle went down clutching his hamstring. We're not 100% sure on what the the extent of that injury is at the moment. Whether it's a one that could have him out for the rest of pre-season, one that maybe could stretch beyond that, or one that maybe is just a little flare-up in this game and it'll be good to go. Maybe not for the next game, but certainly for the rest of pre-season. So we'll keep you up to date on that one, but certainly want to take note. But I'm not too worried, to be fair, because Cody Drammer had himself quite a game. First half, he was a commanding presence down that right-hand side, and I was time and time again watching the match. I was going, go on, Cody Drammer. I mean, last season, it was a bit of a off and on season for Drammer. I think he started a bit slow, sort of picked up in the middle and then sort of finished a bit slow. Of course, his game time was reduced under Ruben Sayers. But Drammer, fantastic performance in this game from him. Really nice runs going down the right-hand side. Managed to cut in, managed to go down the line, which is what you want from your right-back, especially in what could be this sort of style of setup from Sergej Jakirović. He also produced quite a bit of a big effort defensively. There was a few balls getting crossed in and stuff, certainly that first half, from where Drama should be positioned, but that's mainly due to him progressing up the field, and of course that will sort of get pushed out as the as sort of time progresses in this preseason, and as Hull City sort of can know where people may be and how the system may play and may flow. So certainly an impressive one from Cody Drama. Giles had some good moments as well in that first half. Good moments all around, really, at certain points. John Joe Shelby, of course, be keen to know what happened with him. Shelby had some good moments. Still, fitness is a question with him. Did look a little bit sort of gassed and a little bit taken aback, sort of, certainly towards the last 15-20 minutes of that first half. So certainly one there that could be a good player for us. Just want to know about that fitness level. Of course, he's two and a half weeks into pre-season now, so the fitness should be sort of mounting back up for him. But of course, after not playing a considerable amount of football for a couple of years, be questioning on that one. Good half by Casey Palmer, Sellers Fleming, as I said, and then Harry Vaughan had a few good moments. Not a lot of action going down the left-hand side in that first half. For Vaughan really to get going on. Second half wise, of course, second half was far better than the first half. So Drama, once again, I don't really need to back that one up. Defensive wise, we look quite strong. McCarthy, now this was a fantastic revelation. McCarthy, of course, I've been talking about him in the past few videos. Signed by Hull City on deadline day for the academy, so February 1st of this year. McCarthy, not really known too well by Hull City fans before this pre-season. He was involved in the pre-season training camp at Cottingham, did not go with the academy over to Maribor, gone with the senior squad over to Turkey, and it seems like he might be someone that Hull City fans might want to keep an eye on, because maybe not this season, but certainly next season pushing onwards, he could be a big role within this City squad. Certainly a quite a commanding presence CDM wise, and a CDM spot that maybe doesn't have as much security as it once did, because you don't know the futures of Steven Alzate. Gustavo Puerta is not technically a Hull City player at the moment, considering the whole fiasco with the EFL and all of the embargoes and all sorts, which is we're hopefully hearing about in a couple of days, or maybe tomorrow even. So we'll be up to date on that one. But McCarthy certainly filling in for a role that could be under a bit of longevity issues. Of course, you've got Shelby there. What's his fitness going to be like? Could he do a full season? Could he start every game? I highly doubt it. McCarthy could be one to make quite a few little spot starts. Could be a nice one to have come off the bench. And he could be a really shining light. Think a little bit similar to Xavier Simons last season, and how he sort of, certainly under Volta at the start of the season, he was one of the shining lights. McCarthy could be that, but for an extended period of time. He could be one of the next good things to come out of this academy. And he's only been here, what, a couple, quick maths off the top of my head, what, 5 months or so since February, and he's already getting a look into the senior camp and producing a fantastic performance like he did. So very well done, and we'll obviously keep you up to date on what is happening with Cathal McCarthy and how he sort of develops. Other worthy notes in that second half, of course, Kyle Joseph and Farrell Brown both had themselves good second halves, grabbing the goals, which led Hull City to get the win over Istanbulspor. So, tactics-wise, what can we expect from Sergej Jakirovic's Tigers? Well, it wasn't a completely overcasting change to what we saw Hull City putting out on the field last season, certainly under Ruben Sayers. There was elements of playing out from the back. There maybe wasn't as many elements as playing the long ball. Whether that's because Ivo Panda didn't get a minute here, presumably because it's more of a rotational thing. He'll probably get maybe even the full 90 in the next pre-season friendly in Turkey. We'll keep to date on what happens there, but I wouldn't be too worried about the players that didn't play. Of course, what this preseason camp is, certainly the time in Turkey, is for Sergej Jakirović to see what he has got and what he needs to sort of change and adapt, especially under the times now where he can't sign anyone. Of course, that could change, and we'll keep it on that one. But certainly, playing out from the back elements worked quite well. The sort of players in front of the defence, so you see DMs and even your wingers at time, were tracking back and helping the ball progress out, which was certainly lacking last season. There was a lot of sort of times in the game where the ball was just getting passed around the back and there was no real sort of, and no one coming back to try and help them get out and try and progress the ball out, which was quite a nice little change. And hopefully that sort of stands stead within the rest of the season. Midfield-wise, a lot of sort of action went on in that midfield, and a lot of nice sort of progressive pass and play working through the midfield. Another worthy note, how are Hull City going to get their goals this upcoming season, and how will that come through from Jakirović's tactics? Well, a big one is Hull City's only senior striker at the moment, in essence, if you want to call Burstow a striker, I can understand, but Kyle Joseph. Well, last season, we didn't see the best of Kyle Joseph. This season, I think that we can under Jakirović. Kyle Joseph, he's that pacey striker. We saw it in the first few games he had for Hull City last season when he was signed in January. And he's got the pace, he's got the technical know-how to work around and get himself into advantageous spots. Unfortunately, last season, under Sayers, he was played a bit too deep and he wasn't able to give him that opportunity to let him thrive. But I think that can be done under Jakirović. A top tip for it: play the ball through the centre of defence, find the gaps, and Joseph will run on and grab a tapping goal. A bit similar to how we saw Liam Delap grab a few goals in his campaign at Hull City, where the ball was just getting fed through and Delap was running onto it and just tapping it away. We might see quite a few of them goals from Joseph, a sort of a little bit of a clinical striker, taking his chances and putting them away and then creating the chances due to his technical ability, the skill, the pace, and also the pass and play, if that's a term, as we've sort of discussed, the pass and move, which was quite nice to see from a striker. And of course, Joseph isn't the only one that can provide goals for the Tigers. We saw Sellers Fleming. I mean, he's already grabbed one this pre-season, and he had a few chances in this game. A few of the other players, I'm sure that Palmer and Crooks will get their fair shares of goal this season, as they sort of took their trademark longer distance shots, which worked in this sort of setup. Jakirović's big sort of statement in the first press conference that he did was adaptability, and that's what we saw in this game. The adaptability to play each player's strengths, but also play as a full team, which is what we didn't see under Volta. And then playing to certain players' strengths is maybe what we didn't see in full by Ruben Sayers. I have faith that the defence will be as strong as we saw under Sayers last season, and I have faith, albeit not convincingly at the moment, but certainly it's better than it was last season, that Hull City can grab goals this upcoming campaign. And maybe with a few more additional players, as Friggin maybe on the cusp of getting announced, it's certainly seeming likely that Hull City have themselves a bit of a better attack going, and it's all stemming down from Sergej Jakirović. So, of course, I'll keep saying everything Hull City surrounding the club as their Turkish pre-season tour continues. And, of course, we'll be having a look into plenty more transfer news. Hopefully, tomorrow we have an update on the appeal process with the fee restriction and the embargoes. And hopefully, Hull City will be able to actually sign players, and possibly even some permanent ones if this appeal goes Hull City's way. I'll keep you up to date on all of that, so make sure you like and subscribe here on the HullCityFanCentral YouTube channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Up the Tigers!